Thank you. I yield back.
Chairman Huizenga for your 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to first start by actually submitting for the record the letter signed by the 90 groups.
So, yes, without objection.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to each of you for being here and helping shed some light on this. And Ambassador Curry, I'm going to start with you. In June of 2024, the UN Special Rapporteur, Tom Andrews, produced a report called The Banking on the Death Trade, and he found that the junta is increasingly reliant on Thai companies and banks to facilitate the importation of weapons and other material, making Thailand the leading source of Burmese military supplies purchased through the international banking system. Additionally, with the sanctioning of the MFTB and the MICB, the junta has moved its financial services to the MEB. And my bill, which you had mentioned, the Brave Burma Act, calls for mandatory sanctions on the MEB, and the impact would allow U.S. and allied sanctions on MEB to disrupt the junta's ability to wage war. And I might add that there's a few other initiatives, the Burma Gap Act and the Dismantle Foreign Scam Syndicates Act, offered by Ranking Member Meeks and our colleague from Indiana, Mr. Shreve, respectively, and I believe they should be considered necessary steps to cripple the junta as well. But could you illuminate us a little bit on what that would mean to disrupting the military junta's ability to wage war against these ethnic resistance organizations?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. I think that what we should do, first of all, is thank the Thais for following up on that report and debanking the entities that were involved. Unfortunately, as you know, the Myanmar Economic Bank, the MEB, has set up another pathway. So we do need to put full sanctions on the MEB. There was an argument at one point that there would be humanitarian effects on this and that it would create problems for the people of Burma. But I think it's important to understand that most people in Burma do not use the formal banking system. They do everything they can to avoid any engagement with the formal economy, with the government, because it is so predatory. And they know that the government treats the MEB, or the junta, I shouldn't call it the government, the junta treats the MEB as a piggy bank to fund the war effort. So they are very well aware of this, and so they avoid those official systems, and it's believed that the effect will be minimal. But we do need to, we do know that MEB is sanctioning, is still moving forward, and sanctioning MEB would interrupt some of the flows from Russia and China that allow them to purchase weapons, because Russia and China want to be paid in dollars. They do not want jat. Let's be very clear. They are setting up some alternative mechanisms to pay in renminbi, but the Russians want cash on the barrelhead. They need hard currency, and so they need the money. So sanctioning MEB and UAB, which is another path that they use, another bank, would be very important. Thank you.
So I'm hearing keep the pressure up on Thailand. Thank them for what they've done, but let's continue that conversation. Sorry, I'm going to be trying to go quickly to both Ms. Karim and possibly Mr. Ross here. Until this really resolves, I'm curious what influence does the U.S. have with host countries like Bangladesh to prevent harmful repatriation of the refugees to the Rakhine state? So, and Karim, if you would like.
Thank you. As I clearly mentioned in the written statement, I think it is just not safe for us for refugees in Cox's Bazar to return back to Myanmar. There has to be much more to get done to create a condition that would allow Rohingya to return back to Myanmar. And the U.S. could definitely support creating some international monitoring inside the country to make sure the conditions and situations are getting improved. And there are parts, though it sounds like impossible to send back these refugees at this time, given the ground reality, but there are parts allowing internally displaced people to return back to their homes without any conditions and restrictions, and then allowing the humanitarian actors, organizations, and donors to operate legally and freely within the Rakhine state to improve the condition and provide humanitarian aids for those who are still remaining in the country.
Okay, Mr. Ross, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I would just add that there are several countries in the region that have forcibly repatriated Myanmar nationals, not only Rohingya, into Myanmar, despite the risks that they have faced in doing so. And there is a role that the U.S. can play in engaging with these countries, encouraging them not to undertake this practice, and ensuring that non-refoulement is not an option that they pursue. Thanks.
I yield back.